Welcome everybody to the 6th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast. Per usual, we start out with NASCAR. There was some news that came out. It's gonna be starting next year, I think. The deal with CW.
It's gonna start in 2025, I think. Xfinity is gonna go to the CW channel, and it's gonna be last for 7 years. It's gonna be on the on the TV and on the app.
Okay, so it's not like something where you have to actually like pay to see it as a like Peacock, where you have to pay to see the post race stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Cause whenever I skimmed over it, and that's what I was kind of worried about, was it was gonna be like, oh, you have to pay for CW to get it, but most I think most normal TV providers have CW. So, to start off the weekend in NASCAR, they were split up this past weekend. Trucks and Cup were at Richmond, and Xfinity was at Road America. With Trucks, Ty Majeski got pole. I was honestly, I didn't watch it, but it kind of surprised me, like, considering you don't really ever hear Ty Majeski's name that often.
No.
Cause, well, okay. To be fair, I'm pretty sure he won one race last year. That's what got him into the playoffs. And I'm pretty sure I've met him before. So like he's a cool guy, but you just don't ever really hear his name a lot.
Yeah, because he won last year to get into the playoffs. It was the last race until the round of 10 that got him in the playoffs last year. He won the race that determined who was the top, 10.
Oh, well, he tried to do that again this year. Who won Xfinity pole? I just remember who.
AJ.
AJ Allmendinger.
Oh, I don't.
AJ Allmendinger is full-time Cup racing this year, and he had Derek Kraus filling in for him on Saturday in Richmond while he was at Road America. So in the Cup race, he had to start from the rear, obviously, because he wasn't there. But I'm pretty sure just to qualify him for that race, that number had to be on track on Saturday for him to be able to race on Sunday's race.
Which I kind of think that's stupid that he still raced in Xfinity and they were in a completely different state. I think that's stupid.
It's like, I get it. You can, like, just like hop on a plane and skedaddle on over there.
Yeah, because that's easy.
But
But it's
yeah,
stupid.
why would you give up your Cup seat to go race Xfinity? Unless there was already like a pre-existing deal for that race and he couldn't back out of it. Like, it doesn't make sense, because if he would have missed that race on Sunday and just for racing Xfinity, like, they wouldn't have given him the waiver, meaning he would have been out of the championship when he's already won his way in. So, I mean, I guess that's the sacrifice. Let somebody else drive your car on Saturday, start from the back on Sunday, and then still be in it, be in the championship, running for the championship. So, in the Cup race, Tyler Reddick was on pole. He ran actually really well, I'd say. I ran into him Monday, out the day after the race, and he. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to like blast what kind of car he drives. Um, but let's just say it's a cute car. In his words, it's all right. But um, but yeah, I saw him. He saw me like trip over my own feet and fall out the front door of 2311. So yeah, part of me wishes that was on camera, and I could have also gotten the facial expression he made, because me and him made eye contact. He was still sitting in the car, and I fell out the. Anyway, and my dad was like, "Oh, you had a good run going yesterday," and then Tully goes, "Yeah, until I it up." And so like, so that's how it goes.
I don't think they had that many I don't think they had that many wrecks in truck.
The important part is, Bestie Carson got his third win of the season.
Oh, yeah, and Molly's repping him right now.
Yes.
Killer.
It's a known fact that the three of us love Carson Hocevar.
Oh, yes.
So we are very proud of him. That's a lot of momentum. To win the third race of the season, your third race in general, and it's the last race before the playoffs. And then he's going racing, Xfinity racing in Michigan. So he's not stopping. He's keeping it rolling.
He's going. He's going.
He went out into the stands once again. This time it was a little more eccentric. He climbed the flag stand. And he threw the flag out into the crowd.
He like yeeted it out there.
Yeah.
He really went forward and threw it.
And then Molly made a TikTok edit of Carson's win, and Carson posted it on his Instagram story and commented on it. I saw that he commented on it.
I think my favorite was Carson's interview after. It was funny.
Yeah, how he's like, "Oh, I might pull a Noah Gragson here in a minute and throw up."
Yeah.
And then
It's funny.
they had to apologize on the broadcast after his interview because of the language he used.
He was super excited though.
Yeah.
It was so funny though. That interview was pretty funny.
It's so great. I think it might have been after the win. I think he posted something on TikTok, and then I commented on it, and I was like, "Yep, the rest of them can go ahead and pack it up and go home." Because we found our next champion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure on that day, the Xfinity race happened before trucks, didn't it? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
So, earlier in the day. So, rewind.
Rewind!
The Xfinity was racing in Michigan and Road America. No, Wisconsin. Sorry, they were in Wisconsin, not Michigan. That's not where Road America's at. Anyway, there's two really bigger things that happened during the Xfinity race. First, teammates Sammy Smith and John Hunter Nemechek. Coda, would you like to explain? You have strong feelings on that.
I honestly, John Hunter was just mad because he thought that Sammy came up on him, and knocked him off the track, but that is not how that went. Because before, John Hunter had already kind of knocked Sammy off the track. And Sammy didn't really ever hit him back. John Hunter kind of did on his own. That's how I feel about that. And then John Hunter was mad at Sammy about it. And Sammy's like, I didn't even touch him. So, joke's on him. So, that was probably an awkward meeting at Joe Gibbs. As it always is there.
Fun fact. I went to Joe Gibbs on Monday. And it turns out the way their thing is set up is they have their lobby and then their gift shop, and then right around the corner is they have, on one side they have a social media booth, and then on the other side that's not connected to the gift shop is their weight room at Joe Gibbs. And the woman in the gift shop was telling me that she's like, yeah, I mean, I see John Hunter. He comes in, he'll do like some social media stuff in that room over there. And then, but she's like, I don't know if I've ever seen Sammy come in. But she'll see Ty. Ty walks by that window every single day to go to the weight room. So, if you guys are ever at Joe Gibbs, you might catch him at the right time. Oh, and Lakota's repping Ty Gibbs. Aside from the teammate rivalry, there was a hard hit to Chandler Smith. He had a brake rotor explode on the passenger side, and I guess so. They say that he turned to the wall to get the car to stop, but my dad actually kind of explained it. I want to see the in-car camera footage to see if he turned the wheel or not, because whenever that happens, and you go to hit the brakes, whichever side still has that brake rotor, it's gonna pull to that side. Which is what it looks like whenever Chandler took off to the left into the wall. So it honestly, actually, it could have been him completely big braining it and doing that. But there's also that chance that he hit the brakes and it sent him left. So who knows?
I mean, he didn't want to hit the other wall.
Yeah.
He would rather have hit that wall than the other wall, so.
Yeah, because the wall he hit, like, it was close enough to being parallel with the wall that it would minimize, like, the in-car damage and still be able to stop him. Like, the outside, ruined. Took off the nose, took off the driver's side panel door, like, I'm pretty sure took off the hood as well. But with the way that he hit it, it was at the angle where it minimized, like, obviously comparing it to going head first into a wall. You want to be as parallel with the wall to minimize the impact that you take. And so, like I said, he could have just, like, did a complete big brain move. And but that was also, like, split second thinking too. So, who knows? But as of right now, I don't think we've heard any update on how he's doing. Not that I've seen, at least.
I mean, his post interview, like he did after the infield care center, he said that he was okay, but he's obviously gonna be sore because it was a big hit. So
yeah, especially with something like that, you're always gonna have to be reevaluated. Like,
yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Other than that, that's the only thing. They haven't like announced if he's gonna not race in the next one. So
Yeah. So that race finished, and our boy Sam Mayer got his first ever Xfinity win. He's been so close so many times, and he finally rounded it out and got it done.
so many times this year, actually. Like, so many times this year, and finally something good happened for him. So,
Right?
Samuel, good job.
I got to see him as well on Monday. I ran into him at the shop, and biggest smile on his face. Like you could not ruin his day. Which I'm so proud of him. He's been, like I said, he's been so close so many times. So the cup race, I fell asleep for like 45 minutes in the middle of that race, and nothing happened. The only cautions, there were 3 cautions. 2 of them for stage breaks, and one of them at the very end for Daniel Suarez spinning. The most tame race I believe we've had all season. Like, normally on a restart, we'd see a freak out, you know, like, and it would just...
You see, like, cars going, like, 5 wide.
Yeah, exactly.
On the restart. And it was...
Nothing.
Nothing.
Alright, I'm not saying I watch NASCAR for the wrecks, but this is not normal. This is... very strange.
Honestly, that race was kind of boring because nothing happened.
Fair.
I fell asleep during it too, so like after the beginning, I think of stage 3, I like closed my eyes, and then I woke up and it was nothing.
Yeah, like originally I'd set like a little timer, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna sleep for like 20 minutes. I'm not gonna. And then I'd like wake up after those 20 minutes, and I look at the screen, still nothing. And I was like, all right, repeat. Go back to sleep. Wake up. They still aren't. What? Huh? What is going on here? So it was very, very tame for a cup race. Chris Buescher won the cup race. Now, I'm not specifically a Chris Buescher fan, but he's really funny. Like, I've met him a few times, and I saw him at the RFK Fan Day, and I had to ask him about how it was meeting Pierre and Esteban. I have it on video. I was literally in the middle of watching, I think it was a practice session. I was in the middle of watching a practice session while I was going through that line. So I had to ask him. But RFK has, the first year that Brad came over, it was like their building year, you know? And then Chris Buescher goes out and wins the Bristol Night Race last year. Like, that was a huge boost to the morale over there at RFK. Like, they've been waiting on that. And then this year, so for them to go 2 years in a row to, like, have consistent, like, at least a win throughout the season, like, obviously that doesn't move you to the very top of the teams, but you're moving up. Also, Brad Keselowski, part owner in Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, was also very, very consistent in that race. So it's also, I feel like it's also really cool to see both cars from that team excel at like both being on the same level of consistency and moving at the same rate upward, you know? Like I said, I'm not necessarily a Chris Buescher fan, but he's a cool guy. And also with where he was in points, like if you look at the thing, it's basically he didn't even really take up a playoff spot. He was so he like he was so many points above the cut line that it really didn't matter. Like it would have had to like you would have actually had to have all like 16 winners to get in, you know? Like that was the only way he would have been out if he didn't win. Type of thing. In news,
I just been seeing some stuff that he might be coming to NASCAR.
Wait, but
Here.
didn't NASCAR actually post it on the NASCAR app?
did they?
I didn't see anything about it.
I think NASCAR actually posted on their app about it. Maybe. If not, I have no idea.
So there has been word that Shane Van Gisbergen, who won the Chicago Street Race, is supposedly hanging up his race boots over in Australian supercars and moving on over to the States and joining us here at NASCAR.
I don't know. I guess NASCAR didn't post it, but I was seeing a bunch of that too. So it could be true, could not be true.
So what comes along with that is, where did he go? He won with Trackhouse, so obviously he's pretty, like, they've got a big hold on him, you know? So the question is, would they run the 91 car full time for him? Or do you think he'd go somewhere else? Do you think another team reached out to him and tried to pick him up?
The question would be which team, though.
I don't know how much Australian supercar drivers get paid, so I don't know who could afford him. Because I'm sure Trackhouse could afford him for at least one race, you know, and especially the payout because he won the race. So
I don't know.
So raises the question for Xfinity. Alpha Prime made a post saying that Connor Daly, IndyCar driver, is going to be racing for them in the 44 car at the Indy Road Course in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Connor's just getting around, man. He filled in for Simon Pagenaud in IndyCar, and then he drove a few races, I believe, last year in NASCAR, and then now he's coming on back for Xfinity. Coming on back.
Oh, back.
This weekend, trucks have an off week. Because now since their regular season is over, who was the regular season champion?
Corey Heim.
Oh.
It was literally 1 point from Zane.
Oh no.
But when Zane got involved in that accident, last week?
Oh no. Yep.
It messed that up for him. But Corey Heim was the regular season champion.
Dang. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
But, so, their regular season has ended, so therefore their races are going to be a little more spread out, because they end their season in Phoenix, just like the other two series. So, in the beginning of November, I want to say the 4th or 5th. I don't know. But it's like the first week in November. is normally when championship weekend is. Then Xfinity and Cup are going to Michigan. Like I said earlier, Carson is going to be driving the 77 for Spire Motorsports. And this is a home race for him. He's from Michigan. So I'm pretty excited about that. Maybe, hopefully, coming off a win, he might be able to do something in Xfinity. I'm not saying he's gonna go out and win, because there's a lot of really good drivers in Xfinity. But maybe we'll see. Hopefully we'll see a top 10. Hopefully.
I'm trying to even think of who won them like last year, but I don't remember.
I only remember the time that Ryan Blaney won because I have the diecast from that race.
That was probably like
2019?
Oh,
2021? Oh, it might have been 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't remember who won. I don't remember. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really remember anything from last year, except for Joey winning the championship.
I think it was Harvick.
Was it Harvick?
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
yeah, because
is
he
it-
broke
wait.
the streak, didn't he? He broke his winless streak
Wait,
because
also,
he got
isn't
the
that-
2 races in a row.
I was gonna say, isn't that when he went back to back last year? Because he won Richmond and then he won Michigan. I don't know. I don't remember how Michigan really is. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, guess we'll find out. Everybody tune in this weekend to Michigan.
to Michigan.
So, there wasn't any IndyCar this past weekend. They had an off week. So unfortunately, we don't have any news for you there. Actually, just kidding. This is a little bit of a reach. But you guys have heard me talk about it before. Lissy McIntosh and Marcus Armstrong, they've been IndyCar broadcasts have basically outed their relationship. But I thought I was on Instagram, and yesterday Lissy made a post with a photo dump from Tulum, Mexico. So she's out there having a little vacation whenever the Formula One's off for break, And today, Marcus Armstrong does a photo dump from Tulum, Mexico.
Wow.
I love them so much. It's like the icons of, we love Lissy so much. And then there's Marcus. I mean, I love Marcus, okay? He's chill, he's cool. But we love Lissy a lot more. Sorry. So that little bit transfers over to our Formula One. They raced at Spa. There's a few things before we get into the race. Do you guys know what F1 Academy is?
Nada.
So F1 Academy is basically the girls F1. They're younger drivers. I guess it could be comparable to how you have the younger drivers of F2 and F3. But it's an all-girls series. And they race formula cars. And this series is ran by Susie Wolf, who is Toto Wolff's wife. We love her. She's an icon. And I believe she also used to race herself. So she is very, very big advocate for getting women and young girls into motorsports. So we love her for that. But F1 Academy, all 10 Formula One teams have confirmed to have F1 Academy drivers and liveries for the 2024 season. There's going to be some Red Bulls, there's going to be some Mercedes, there's going to be some Alpines. Very, very big news. Because I believe F1 Academy just got up off the ground this year. So it's very exciting. This weekend, Ferrari lost their racing director, Laurent Mekies, I think is his name. But yep, he's no longer racing director and did not attend the Belgian Grand Prix. And he's going over to AlphaTauri to replace Franz Tost, I think that's how you say it, as team principal. So the Spa is the beginning of Formula One's silly season. You have Spa, and then you have 3 weeks off from racing, and then you're back at Zandvoort. And it's the middle of the season. It's like almost exactly the middle of the season. I think it's off by like 1 or 2 races. But yeah, so Ferrari lost their racing director. Don't know if that's which direction that's gonna send Ferrari in, because in the past couple of years they have had quite a few personnel changes. So we'll see how that goes. Formula One denied, I believe they actually did deny it, Bridgestone's offer, like the tire company Bridgestone, denied their offer to be the sole provider of tires for Formula One. So that means Pirelli will remain the F1 tire until 2027. So each series, or like most of the ones that I know, all have different tire manufacturers. Like Formula One has Pirelli, IndyCar has Firestone, and then NASCAR has Goodyear. So looks like Bridgestone is not getting this one. Also, Formula One is bougie and very expensive. So sitting here thinking that Formula One denied their offer, it had to have been low. And, like, you can just tell Formula One would not take a lowball offer. That just is not them. Speaking of silly season, Alpine lost their team principal and sporting director after Spa. Otmar and Alan Permain are no longer a part of Alpine. Otmar has been in Formula One for, I want to say 15 years. Like, he was around when I believe Force India was still around. So, and then I think he was at Aston Martin. He's been around. But partially we don't really like Otmar because he was one of the main ones to say something about Oscar moving to McLaren. And was like, good luck, you're not gonna do great. And where's that now, Otmar? When Oscar's getting Rookie of the Year because he got P2 in a sprint race. Okay, but I love Esteban and Pierre. I love Alpine, just not Almer. And so there are rumors that of people to replace Otmar, which, God, this might even be worse. Mattia, I think his name's Binotto, the team principal from Ferrari from last season. I believe it was last season. Is on a short list, supposedly, to replace Otmar. Those, in my opinion, are probably two of the worst options you could have as team principal.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. They have a lot of experience in Formula One. But you saw how the teams performed while they were there as team principal. Unless it's like your final option. What are you... Like, come on now. So, alright. Now that we got silly season rumors out of the way. On to the race weekend. Max Verstappen took a 6th place grid penalty for replacing his gearbox because in previous races he was complaining about the shifts. So he ended up starting 6th on the grid because you already know he went out there and took pole. So they set him on back. Nothing really out of the ordinary happened in the practice sessions. But come qualifying, Oscar Piastri was fastest in Q2. Rookie of the Year who? Just saying. So, as both an Oscar and Max fan, I was definitely on edge for Q2 because Max literally squeaked by in Q2 and placed 10th.
Yeah, he did.
I wish I could have... Oh, no, wait. Did I find it? I wish I could find the conversation between Max and, I think I call him GP, but that's just his nickname. But Max is race engineer, and Max, like, we know Mad Max comes out a little bit sometimes, okay? But GP snapped back at him, and it was like, yeah, well, how would it have looked if you used all your battery in that first lap, and you would have been upset that, like, and, like, how would that have looked? And then GP goes, you know what? This next session, like, you can tell me strategy, tires, like, anything, whatever you want to do, you will do it. Like, just, let's shut Max down real quick. But,
Yeah, it did.
But he did apologize. Max did apologize.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out GP, Jean Pierre, I think that's his name, he originally took the job thinking he was going to be working with Sebastian Vettel at Red Bull. And then he got put with young Max Verstappen. Hot-headed, like, a beyond aggressive Max Verstappen. So, for GP to stick with him for this long through all of Max's hissy fits, that takes some nerve, okay? But, like I said, Max apologized. It was... They've known each other for so long that that's not gonna damper their relationship, you know? So, because of Max's penalty, Charles Leclerc got pole. Our poor Danny Rick, he had went up to 6th in qualifying at one point, but they deleted that lap time. So we thought Danny was gonna get into the next round, but it did not work out, unfortunately. Qualifying was, like, insane. Like, Esteban Ocon hit the wall. And then also Logan Sargent wrecks. Oh no, wait, that was practice. Either way, Logan Sargent wrecks because of a steering problem. You can watch his onboard camera, and he is turning the steering wheel 180 degrees, and those tires are not moving.
I saw that video because someone posted it on TikTok. Actually, it was a Logan Sargent account, the fan account that I follow on TikTok. They posted the video.
Like, that was wild.
That was.
Like, with how sophisticated those cars are, I didn't think something like that could have happened. Like, for it to, like, not... It's literally something had to be disconnected. Either, like, or broken somehow. I feel like you could tell... I think it was a little wet out when that happened. So, originally, before seeing the onboard, I was like... I mean, that could have been a rookie move that, like, he locked up the tires, right? No. You literally have to defend Logan on that one. Like, there was literally nothing he could do.
Yeah.
Of all of the wrecks that happened, Lance Stroll wrecked in sprint qualifying. So the FIA didn't confirm the track to be wet during sprint qualifying 2. So if they don't confirm the track to be wet, you have to stay on how sprint qualifying is set up. You have to use hard tires in SQ1, medium tires in SQ2, and soft tires in SQ3. Like, that's how it works in sprint qualifying. And because, like, if the track were to have been determined wet or confirmed is a wet track, they could have chose any tire to use in that session. Where the FIA didn't do that with SQ2, so whenever Aston Martin wanted to go on to slicks, they had to put the medium tires onto Lance Stroll's car. That resulted in him going off in, I want to say, turn 9. He went off track and into the wall. And even some of the other drivers were like, whoa, that's like, we're hearing that that Lance was on medium tires, and they're like, that's a bold move. Like, why would you put mediums on there? But they had to, because they had to comply with the rules for sprint qualifying, because the track wasn't confirmed wet, even though it was constantly raining. So that happened to Lance, and to make his day even worse, Lance slipped and fell on the steps of the Aston Martin hospitality. If you have not seen that video, you are not on Formula One side of TikTok.
No, I saw somebody posted, and I saw one of the captions like, it's because he didn't take a picture with that fan, that's why he fell. I was like, okay.
That was the original person that posted it. Like,
yeah.
The guy in the video, he's like, I think he's like a redhead or blonde or something, and that was his video that he posted, and his caption said, that's karma for not taking a picture with me.
See, when I went to TikTok, the first one that I saw was just Lance falling. They didn't show the person
trying to take the picture. Oh.
They didn't show that, so they just showed Lance falling until, like two scrolls down, and there was the video of the guy asking Lance for a photo. So the only video left was just Lance falling.
It's funny. I'm a secret Lance lover. I love Lance. But that, it was so funny, and I feel so bad. But it was so funny. Somebody commented and was like, man, I hope his wrists are okay. Because he broke his wrist like 2 weeks before the season started or something. In a biking accident. Yeah. It was speaking of his wrists, in Miami, whenever I was at the Grand Prix in Miami, somebody had a flag that was hanging from the railing to show off to the paddock, and it said, Lance Stroll, my love for you is stronger than your wrists.
Wow.
It was so funny. But, so, that was Saturday. Ollie Behrman racked up another F2 pole. And Jack Doohan won another F2 race. So, both, actually, I don't know if they like Jack Doohan, but I do. Because I was about to say our boys, but I don't know if you guys like Jack Doohan. But they had pretty okay weekends, if I say so. So the sprint happened, and Oscar Piastri got P2 in the sprint. It was his best finish of the season in his rookie season. Um, unfortunately, you can't really call it a podium because it was just a sprint and not an actual Grand Prix. Even Oscar was like, yeah, I have no idea what you would call this, but yeah, me neither, Oscar. But you got a P2. You got a little plaque that says second place. You did it, okay?
You did it. Yeah.
In the sprint, Lewis Hamilton got a 5-second penalty and 2 points added to his license due to the collision with Sergio Perez. You guys should probably know my feelings on Checo. Yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of Checo because I'm a Max Verstappen fan. But yeah, I don't exactly remember how much contact it was, but like I don't know. I'd have to like read about how they justify the points, you know? Like they only last for like a 12-month period, I believe. But I'm just curious of how they determine that, you know? The Grand Prix, Max came from 6th place and won at Spa. And he not equals, but like matches Michael Schumacher to have won 10 races in the first 12. I'm not sure how many other drivers have done that, but Michael Schumacher was the main one that I saw the people mentioned. And Checo got second. Charles Leclerc got on the podium. His post-qualifying interview, he was the opposite of optimistic. He literally just straight up said, yeah, let's be realistic. We're not winning tomorrow.
Literally, I was like, well, there you go. That's one way to put it there, Char. One way to put it.
Yep. I feel bad for Charles. Just he is Ferrari through and through. Like Ferrari runs in his blood, right? And I just feel so bad that he's not getting the results. Like last year, he had a shot. He came second in the championship. But this year, he's barely even.
He's like fourth or like fifth.
Yeah.
He's like fourth in the championships.
Yeah. So like, it's heartbreaking. To say the least.
Ferrari just kind of sucks in general.
Yeah. Right now.
Which is sad.
So, Red Bull got 3 trophies. Aside from the sprint. This weekend, they got the first and second place trophies, and then also the constructors trophy. And whenever Red Bull went to take their group picture, the way they do it, they take 3 pictures. The first 2 are just normal takes, and then the third one, they go to take the picture, and then all of them run at the camera, like throwing Red Bull around, and just that's how they celebrate. And in doing that, one of the I guess mechanics, not too sure who he was, knocked over Checo's sign, and knocked it into one of the trophies, breaking it. And I do.
It wasn't even there. Lando didn't break it this time.
Yes. You can't blame Lando this time.
You can't.
And I believe, looking at it, I believe it was the Constructors' Trophy.
That's what everybody's saying it was.
Because it was roughly the same size as Max's trophy.
Yeah.
And whenever Red Bull posted the clip on TikTok, Lando commented on it, and he said, "Thank F, it wasn't me this time."
Yeah.
I saw when the F1 posted the picture of the trophy, it had like 2 on it. Like second place.
So it actually might have been Checo's.
That's actually kind of funny though, but at the same time, it wasn't Lando, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
And it also wasn't Max's trophy this time.
That's true. It was somebody else's trophy.
Yeah. And the video of Max realizing it's broken is like,
it's so funny.
He's like, it's broken again.
Lando didn't do it.
You said what now?
They're not having any luck with their trophies.
Yeah, this is the 3rd race in a row that something's happened to their trophies. Luckily, this one could be put back together. I think I saw the person who made it made a comment and was like, we just thought we had to make it Lando proof, not Red Bull proof. So everybody's dishing out this on the broken Red Bull trophies.
In interviews, I kept asking Lando about the trophy. I'm like, quit asking about the trophy. He's already apologized so many times for breaking Max's trophy.
Yeah.
He's still, like, mad about it.
So, for qualifying, Christian Horner, team principal of Red Bull, told Checo before qualifying that if he didn't start in the top 3, Christian wouldn't talk to Checo for the rest of the weekend. Obviously, I feel like that was a joke, but that is so funny. That's literally the definition of, yeah, you're obviously not the favorite kid.
I mean, that's pretty true.
Like,
Checo's like the middle child.
Yes. Like, so normally the youngest is the favorite. So I feel like that would be Max, because he's the one that's winning all the time. So he's getting all the accomplishments. So they're like just praising him so much, right? Then you have Checo, who's the middle child.
Mm-hmm.
That like gets neglected. And then you have Danny Rick, who's the oldest, that has like all this history with Red Bull, and
is also semi the favorite too.
Yeah, and who
just not as much as Max.
Yeah, who was originally the favorite until the other two came along.
Yeah.
So
Checo's really the middle child in that family.
Yep. Checo's the middle child of Red Bull.
It's fine.
So there was an article that came out, allegedly, that Charles has already signed a contract extension with Ferrari that could be either 2 to 3 years. And then Carlos is also trying to get the same deal, the same extension, but apparently Alpine is also an option for Carlos, apparently, from this article that I read. Don't know if any of that is confirmed or accurate, but that's what I saw. It would be, as much as I dislike Carlos at the moment, I would hate to see him leave Ferrari, in my opinion. Like, he's been at McLaren, he was at Renault, he was at Toro Rosso before it was AlphaTauri. Like, he hasn't really been in a place that sticks, but he's been at Ferrari for at least 2 seasons. So I would hate to see him leave and like shake up his whole thing again, you know?
I don't want Carlos to leave Ferrari.
He looks too good in red.
Honestly, facts though, and he needs.
I mean, that was a joke, but yeah.
Okay, I have no problem about that one. But he needs to stay. I feel like he needs to stay at Ferrari with Charles.
Yeah, I feel like their dynamic is just so good that I don't think you'd be able to find another person to mesh with Charles. Like,
Honestly,
Carlos.
I feel like I feel like they feel safe with each other.
Yeah,
honestly.
like Carlos has already found somebody in Lando whenever he was at McLaren. So so obviously Carlos can find other drivers that mesh well with him, but I just don't see very many meshing well with Charles.
I don't either, honestly.
Like, it's almost as a, like, this is how I kind of view Ferrari. Charles knows that he's the favorite child, knows that he's the golden child, because he's literally, like, Ferrari's golden boy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, obviously, he showed the talent last year. I'm not going to speak on this year. And if you look at him, he fits the look of Ferrari.
Hot.
Like, I mean, that's not saying Carlos doesn't either. Like, because he does, but I don't see Charles ever leaving Ferrari, just based on his comments and based on, like, the previous circumstances. Like, a lot of his being is almost instilled in Jules Bianchi, who Jules's goal was to drive for Ferrari. And obviously they were close. Like, Jules was his godfather. Like, that was his second dad. So I think on top of that, and then it also being Charles's dream to drive for Ferrari, I just don't see Charles ever leaving Ferrari.
I mean, he doubts it all the time, but he's not gonna leave them.
Well, he's very honest in all of his interviews. But he's also stated before that he wants to be the one to bring Ferrari back to the top. He wants to win a world championship with Ferrari. And I feel like with that determination, it's gotta be coming.
I hope so.
But like I said, he was very close last year. But I feel like this year's car was probably a step in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But they're slowly working. They're working their way up. As speaking of Carlos, I mentioned earlier that I'm not particularly his biggest fan at the moment, and I'm about to tell you why. So the first lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, he locks up to not hit Lewis, I believe, and dives to the inside right before they get to turn 1, where Oscar is, and as they try to round turn 1, there's not room at all. You do not go 3 wide through turn 1. Okay? And Oscar was there, had his nose in it. Like, there was no way Oscar would have been able to back out of this in time. Right? So, Carlos takes the room that Oscar's occupying, and squeezes him to the wall of turn 1. And you can, on the onboard camera, you can see the impact of Oscar's car, like, skimming that wall. And it, like, rips open, I'm pretty sure it rips open the side of Carlos's car.
I think that it does.
And so, Oscar, after having such a fantastic weekend, has to retire the car before the second lap. Then, Ferrari brings Carlos in, puts new tires on it, and tries to make him limp out there for another 20 laps. And I'm like, what's the point? You're literally just tearing up the car at this point. Just put the car back in the garage. And in the post-race interview of Carlos blamed Oscar for the wreck. I have the quote. I have the quote of what he said, okay? He said,
Wow.
my opinion, I've been racing in Spa 7 or 8 years, and everyone who has tried that move on the very inside has always generated an accident or a crash. If you look back at the past starts here, that is normally the case. Maybe a bit of an experience mistake, but it's how it goes. About Oscar, being there, where he was. So, you clearly saw Oscar on the inside because you were side by side with him before you locked up and ran down in the corner. So you knew he was on that line. You knew he was going to stay there because of how fast you were going into this corner. So you knew he probably wasn't going to have enough time to react to you diving in this corner. So, what... Just... Fine, Carlos. Fine. Just do not attack my boy like that. Anyway, okay. You know what? That's enough of Spa. It's summer break. 3 weeks off. You know what happened? You know where 2 of our Formula 1 drivers were at only hours after the checkered flag at Spa? Well, they were in Amsterdam at Tomorrowland. Both Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, who are friends with Martin Garrix, a DJ, were hanging out on stage at Tomorrowland during Martin's set. So we got some content of that. There's some really cool videos of Lando and some pictures of both of them and Max. along with Martin, obviously, because they're mutual friends. If you've seen recent posts of earlier this season, Lando and Martin were in New York. I believe right before the Miami Grand Prix. And then Martin was at one of the recent races with Max. So they all run in the same circle. And then Oscar Piastri's not done. He said, "Nope, I'm not leaving Spa yet." He was doing a Pirelli tire test at Spa for McLaren. So while the others are over here going to Tomorrowland, going out to the beach, going wherever they're going, Oscar's like, "No, I want to get back in the car. I don't want to be gone for these next 3 weeks, okay?" So that's where he's at. That's where he is biding his time. And then, if you guys know me, I am a fan of Frederick Vesti, who drives in Formula 2. And he is set to drive a Formula 1 car in Free Practice 1 for Mercedes in Mexico for the Mexico, or do they call it the Mexico Grand Prix? I believe it's ran in Mexico City, so that's very exciting. I feel like those two, like Frederick and Ollie, and now Jack, are some of the most promising F2 drivers.
I love Ollie.
Who's the kid who's obsessed with Oakberry. We're off for 3 weeks of Formula 1. Next week, NASCAR is back in Michigan. And IndyCar will be back on the streets of Nashville.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, normally we could call Nashville, we could call it NASCAR.
NASCAR.
Right? Well, we can't do that here.
Because that's what NASCAR calls it.
Exactly. And it's not NASCAR who's racing.
Wait, that means if it's IndyCar, it'd be Indy Cash.
And what?
It would be Indy.
What? What did you? Where are you getting cash from?
I don't even know. I clearly need sleep.
Oh.
Yeah, Indy Cash. Yeah. That's
Anyway.
not it. Whatever. I need sleep.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are our upcoming events. That's it for us. This has been the 6th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast. We will be back at it again next week. Peace out, guys.
Peace. Deuces.